Welcome to Caribbean Millennials. Welcome to episode 119 of the Caribbean Millennials podcast. Hope everyone is doing well. We have a thrilling episode for you guys today, and we actually have a guest with us. We are happy to have Didi Beck with us today from Jamaica. Didi, say hey.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here.
Didi is actually an old friend of mine back from boarding school. We met when we were like 16, 17 years old. And at the time I met her, I just knew she was a creative genius, right? At the time, she was killing her academics as well as just crocheting bikinis, and like had already had a whole fashion show. She was super creative, even with her writing and art. I even remember randomly doing like a photo shoot for her, like as like a Grecian goddess. Do you kind of remember that?
Yes, I do. Oh my God.
But Didi, I always knew as just kind of oozing creativity, and I'm so happy to be able to reconnect with you today on this podcast to talk a little bit about what you've been doing. So for the podcast, Didi is actually a filmmaker. She's based in Jamaica, where she was born and raised, but one of the main reasons we wanted her here, not only just for her skills and talents in film, but what she chooses to focus her film.
She's our resident Ghostbuster.
Exactly.
Our Caribbean Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes. Like
Who
a
you
Danny.
gonna call?
Me.
Didi Beck. Like Adani wanted to write when we were talking about this. Adani said, Duppy Conqueror.
Yeah.
She had me on that episode for a moment about like the guy who drove the tractor over the grave.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, he died. And the guy's like, JK, he didn't die. I was like,
Nah, psych. It reminds me of a similar one we have home.
Yeah. So before we get into all of it, Didi has done a phenomenal job and started creating these videos that I believe are at least 3 episodes now are on YouTube.
Yes.
That have kind of documented, like, I guess you did your bachelor's in journalism, right?
I did my master's in journalism.
My bad. Sorry. Sorry, ma'am.
she mastered that shit.
Yeah, but she's a storyteller, evidently. And in these YouTube videos, you can really see her like skill set where she goes and kind of either debunks or tells stories about ghosts. So, or duppies, whatever you call them. So I guess to start, so we will link her YouTube profile in the show notes, but also she recently did a short film, and it's all called or in the family of like High Strangeness. Mm-hmm. So you can either check out the link in the description or look up High Strangeness Didi Beck and you'll find it. So Didi, how did you become a Ghostbuster?
Bruh.
That is my favorite question. How did I become a Ghostbuster? Well, that's always been my life experience. So I've always seen ghosts. I've always experienced them. I didn't realize it was not like a universal experience until like kind of embarrassingly late, because, they were always just things I had experienced as a kid. I didn't always tell people about it because it was like breathing air. It was just part of the day. Same thing for just like sensing things, not necessarily only seeing them. So that was just my life experience. So when I was in grad school, I was supposed to do a thesis, and my program advisor advised me, as she should, to do something that the way that she phrased it was pick something that you spend your nights Googling after you're finished your work and you're supposed to be going to sleep. And I'm like, ghosts. Like at that time, they had never entered the conversation in any way in terms of my artwork or my academic work. They were just always something, they were just like a niche interest, I guess, or just like a life experience that I'd had that had never become relevant in any way until I went to grad school. And it's like somebody gave me permission to basically out myself as somebody who sees ghosts. And that was the starting point of me putting it in my artwork and my media expressions. And I wrote an entire graduate journalism theory about ghosts in the world of art and artists. So that is how I became a Ghostbuster.
I'm over here afraid to watch Unsolved Mysteries in the daytime, and she out there just Googling
I know, right?
on the web, like, boy,
Yeah,
down the rabbit
Didi's just
hole.
like, ghosts are friends, not
You
foes.
Google today, down the rabbit hole.
I still have
Mhm.
nightmares from the theme song.
Oh my God. Well, that's the irony. I can't watch horror stories. I can't watch horror movies, horror anything.
Really?
No, it's like it's enough to live them. I don't need to like watch a whole movie.
I find it interesting that you use the term that you didn't really exploit until you were almost quote unquote like given permission, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I just think being from the Caribbean, that whole element of the supernatural, right,
Mhm.
is so strong, amongst all of the islands. There are all of these stories and stuff, but very few people have chosen or tried to document them in like more of that kind of official like format, right?
Mhm.
So I've given between our friends we'll joke around and say the story writes itself, right? Like you
Yeah.
just between like things in the Caribbean around even just day-to-day life and stuff like that, like there's so much like comedy, mystery, thrillers, like
Mhm.
all of that, right? Just
Mhm.
in our Caribbean experience, right? So
Yeah.
I guess as you kind of started exploring that as your art and media, did you feel like it was accepted? Do you feel people were like, oh my God, yes? Like how do you feel like your work has been received?
For the most part, it's been really well received, which was so much fun. I will say people in America, which is where I went to school. I went to grad school in California. So that's where I was doing this first foray into ghost exploration in an academic sense and in a public sense. They really loved it over there. I was lucky enough to be part of a program that encouraged me to go out and do weird things as long as I kept it journalism with a capital J, So with California people and with US people, it was really well received. And for the most part, Caribbean people loved it because, either people had their own experiences or they just loved Duppies because, we're all OBO, like low level OBO believers over here. I did have one and two people who like tried to save my soul or tell me that I need to repent. But for the most part, it was really good.
I mean, one or two, that sounds like a pretty reasonable number for like Caribbean Christians, right?
Right? Yeah, no, it was mainly some hardcore Caribbean Christians from my childhood. And I'm like, you guys, this has always been a thing. It's only now you're hearing about it.
Like, guys, it's not that serious.
It's really not.
So, do you want to kind of tell the listeners more about like high strangeness and kind of your concept and exploration?
Yes. Okay. So I should begin this by saying everything I do is called high strangeness. And I don't it's purely by accident. It started with the YouTube series that I started in 2019. High Strangeness started out as the web series, and it's only when I submitted a treatment for a film as part of like a grant, and my grant, like I was awarded this grant to make a film. I had just called that treatment High Strangeness because I'm like, I really like this name. It's cool, it's edgy,
like
it's
it.
blah blah blah. Yeah, it's fun to say, and it's like weird. You don't even like it gets you because you're like, what is a high strangeness? I don't know. It's not about ganja, so what is it? So that's how the film came about, but I will say the YouTube web series came first. The YouTube web series is about my personal experiences with the paranormal and the otherworldly, and other people's experiences with the paranormal and the otherworldly. So in the 3 episodes I've got up there, it's my sister telling me about her encounter with what she believes to be her future daughter. And then the second episode is about this urban legend about a guy who drove over the grave of the founder of Hope Gardens, which is like this old plantation at home. Yep, you guys saw that one, I think.
Yes.
Which turned out to be a myth. It's a myth, guys. And then the third one I had posted after a 2-year hiatus. And it was about the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, Oregon. It was a personal story about the time I met a ghost in there. So yeah, that's about that. That's what High Strangeness is about on YouTube. The concept carried over into the short film in the sense that it's about duppies. My short film is about this psychic girl living with her ancestral ghosts who want to stop her from reviving the family business, which is, psychic readings. It's insane, but it's really fun.
Yeah, when I watched that short film, I was like, oh my god, I want the whole of this. Like,
oh, thank you.
Good.
It
But
was crazy.
Well, what would it take, like, in your world? Because I guess, the YouTube series is, a you thing, right?
Yes.
Short film, definitely had, actors and production and, that kind of thing. Where kind of are you in your journey of even like taking things to film and
Oh my gosh. Well, I will always do YouTube because I love the freedom there. So as long as I live, I hope to be producing some form of High Strangeness for the internet and some form of duppies for the internet. But in terms of film, I'm actually, I'm hoping to go to film school next year, because that is where I want my mainstay of creative expression to be. I love that medium. So High Strangeness, the short film, was my first official film creation, and hopefully one day there might be either a TV series or a full feature script or full feature film for that concept. So yeah, right now we are just writing more duppy things. And I'm working on one particular story, Anushka. I can't divulge everything because it's still a baby seed, but it does happen at a particular Florida boarding school. So with ghosts.
Boy, possession.
I know. Where is the scary music right now, right?
Oh boy.
Not gonna lie, I did not wake up and go to the bathroom at night, guys.
Oh my god. No, Anushka, oh my god, I don't know if you remember this or if you were around when they were telling us this, but did you ever remember anybody in the boarding program telling us that there used to be a girl who lived here in the 60s and she died and now she lives in the ceilings? And we were like, no, that's not true. And then because this boarding school was pretty young, I think it started in either the late 50s or the 60s. And then one day, it was junior year. One day I got up to go to the bathroom and then I heard footsteps from the ceiling, and me and Anushka lived across the hall from each other on the second floor of a 2-story building. There should squirrels don't have footsteps. Neither do raccoons. I don't know.
Hey, I said what I said. I didn't go to the bathroom at night.
Wow. There's always somebody dying in the 60s and the 40s. So there are no modern day
Like,
ghosts.
why?
Like nobody died in 2001. And I was like, yeah.
No.
Maybe
I
there's
remember
like a time
Biggie and
period.
Tupac.
There's a time period like they have to rest before they come back and start haunting people.
Now, you know, the
So,
funny
you know.
thing is, I think between me, Didi, and this girl, Ella, I think it was like 3 witches living like.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you did name the 3 widows that I knew at your time
Yeah,
going to
but
that
like
school.
all 3 of us
so-
are into this space now, right? And
Yes.
it's so funny that back then we were friends, but we had no idea that we'd be like this.
Oh, in our past lives we did. We're going to be like, I bet in our past lives we were like, guys, this was sick. Let's do it again. And we were like, okay.
It was like in
Let's
our
go
past
haunt a
lives,
boarding school.
in our past life, we were in a coven and we had no idea.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
So, Danny, you wanna go ahead and ask all your ghost questions because I know you have them.
Okay, before Danny get to this,
Okay.
I just have one, like really one. Have you ever had like any like truly scary ghost encounters?
Of course, Vernon, how you mean? Oh my god. And it was on the set of my film. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god. It like okay,
Why did
well
I just get like hand chills?
because it was scary. Oh my god. Listen, I will preface this by saying that every time I encounter a spirit or a ghost, it is always a little bit shocking. But the nice thing is, most of the time, I know the people I'm encountering, so it's like kind of shocking. But then it's like, oh wow, I've got guardian angels. People are looking out for me. This is nice. But this time, no, oh my god. So I was, we shot this film in an old house. It was a legitimately old ass house built in like the 1600s, so it's old.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was a plantation house. I don't know if you guys call it a great house in St. Lucia, but in Jamaica, it was a great house. So for our international listeners, a great house is a plantation house, and it has survived the years, and it like. This was where we were shooting my short film. And of course, old houses come apart. So parts of the house were being renovated. We got access to this house to rehearse a couple days before we shot. So one day, all my actors have left. And I am there with the groundskeeper, Sharon. And the owner, I know, right? God, classic. I am the girl in the movie who gets like killed. Anyway.
Guys have to stay behind.
Let's split up and go exploring. No. Oh my God, Scorpio moon over here. But so I like the owner of this house texts me and she is asking me, can you go take a picture of the master bedroom bathroom because I need to send pictures to the contractor. And I'm like, yeah, of course. The master bedroom is upstairs all the way I know, oh my God, all the way at the end of the hall, last door to the left. And so it's just me and Sharon. And I go upstairs. I am alone. All the doors, it's one long ass hallway with doors on either side. They are all closed. I get to the master bedroom. I go inside. I take the pictures I need to take. I send them to the owner of the house. And like I had left the door to the master bedroom open. And once I leave the master bathroom, I get back into the bedroom and there is somebody standing in the door. Like a tall ass man standing in the door. And it wasn't even like a man. It was like when you stare at the sun for too long and then you see sunspots, it was that.
So a shadow,
like
basically.
yeah, it was like a sunspot shadow outline
Silhouette.
of a silhouette of a very, very tall man. And he was in the doorway looking at me. And it was so quick and so sudden. Like I just like froze because like the air just got like really, really cold just for half a second. And I got goosebumps and like all the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And he was like staring at me. And it was just like maybe 1 second, but that 1 second felt like forever. And it's almost like he was like, okay, bye. And then he like walked walked down the hallway. And I know this because like the door was open, and you know how you have that crack where the hinges meet? If the door is like kind of, I saw him pass the hinge. Like he had got his shadow past the hinge. And like, I was so freaked out. I couldn't move for like 2 seconds, but it felt like forever again. But eventually I just like turned off all the lights and shot out the door. And like when I got outside of the main bedroom door, I looked down the hall and every single door is open. And I'm like, Sharon, I'm leaving. And I couldn't find Sharon, so I like shoot down the stairs, and then I like go outside because Sharon is nowhere inside, and I see Sharon at like the very edge, like the periphery of this very large piece of land. I'm like, Sharon, were you just inside? And she's like, no, ma'am, I was out there the whole time. I'm like, great.
Sharon is a ghost too, girl.
Listen, by the end of it, Sharon is like, listen, at this point, I trust nothing. But I was Sharon
is like, after 7, nope, no sir.
Oh my God. So I would say that is the scariest encounter I have had.
I think everyone's like shook right now.
Yeah, that's scary.
But like, I guess from what you understand, from your experience and like what you understand ghosts, spirits, whatever to be, would you say it's kind of like that, you know, like, is it that, like, from your experience, is it like that in between, like a purgatory thing? Is it like is it just like a meeting of multiple like realms and dimensions kind of thing, where there's like, you know how like people kind of describe like there's a veil, you know, and sometimes you know, spirits, whatever, are more likely to be able to come through,
like on Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes. Relevance. Well, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. For me, it's really, really, it changes. I don't think I will ever stop learning about ghosts. Every day I feel like I pick up a little bit more, or I learn something new, or like I have a new experience that shifts my thinking about it. But as of this moment, I think a bunch of things about ghosts. To me, when I think about ghosts or duppies, to me that is different to like a spirit, you know, because a spirit to me has always felt like really protective and bright, and like it's like you feel the spirit of your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
But you see the duppy of an old war soldier, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And with me, duppies and ghosts, it always implies this kind of sadness, because I am of the personal belief that ghosts appear to living people, ghosts appear to the living because they are souls that have some kind of attachment to the 3D realm. Like they have some kind of unfinished business, and they think that you, the human being who still lives in the 3D, can help them. So here they are appearing to you. That is what I currently have come to the conclusion about for ghosts.
Okay, so which one can hurt you?
Poltergeists. They are some rowdy ass motherfuckers. Like, do not ramp with a poltergeist.
Any of those?
No, but I know people who have, and it's actually kind of funny.
Okay.
Because I have a friend, Catherine, my friend from college, Catherine. She lives in California, or she used to live in California, and she lived with a poltergeist for about 7 years. Like, luckily, she's also a witch. Yes. Oh, yes. She's also a witch, so she knew exactly what it was. But like,
it must have been really good in that spot. What Catherine just did it for 7 years.
Oh yes, I think it was a nice rent control building in California. Wow. But the poltergeist used to like hide her stuff, and like several times the poltergeist locked her in her room, but she could always like fiddle her way out, until like it was like the last week that she and her roommate were living in the apartment, and the poltergeist fully locked her roommate into her room. and they had to like screw off the door handle. She couldn't get out for a long time. But that's an example of like one of the nicer poltergeists. Poltergeists are like paranormal entities that like cause a ruckus for their own amusement and to basically voice their disapproval or voice their opinions to you, the living human being. So like those are the ones who will menace you if you are to be menaced. But I do not think that you can get seriously hurt from one of them. Like maybe they might knock over your water or turn off your light or like
your chair.
Or move your chair and you fall down and you never get up again. I don't know. Like
I feel like
And you never get up again part for me. Like,
I feel like Vernon would want to be a poltergeist to his school.
no,
'cause-
so here's
you know, I believe you.
here's the thing. She's saying the whole thing about poltergeist, and I believe it. But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, and I could be wrong because I've never had an encounter with any of those things. But it's like, I feel like you can scare them away. Like they try. It's like
Oh,
they
yeah.
try and, like if you back down and you show them like they have control over you, then they'll continue haunting you. But if you're,
Exactly.
bigger and badder
Like
than
a-
you,
like
they'll
a
be
bear? Like a bear.
Sure. Like
Yes.
they scream at you, scream back.
Or
like,
a
I'm not
coyote.
afraid.
You have to
Yes.
be bigger than it.
Like, no, Vernon, totally. And exactly, Adani, yes, exactly like a bear.
It's like I can make the poltergeist afraid of me and be like, oh shit, I shouldn't be here. This guy means business. I carry the
Yeah. No, that's exactly the approach that you need to take if you do not want to coexist with a poltergeist. Basically, you have to say, go back to the light from whence you came. I cannot help you, and this is my space now. You are no longer welcome here.
Bye.
And then do whatever opio you need to feel good. And if that doesn't work, then
It's the poltergeist
Jesus
house.
take the wheel. Yes, the poltergeist you should probably move.
The poltergeist is one that battle.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. You have this like connection with the paranormal, spiritual, and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something other people in your family have? Like I know, like you have
Yes.
a story. Your sister said she saw,
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
But like, is it something like maybe like your mom or your
Yes.
grandma? Okay.
Yes, it's a very strong maternal lineage thing in my family. My mom is super duper psychic. She doesn't practice hers per se the way that I do as a psychic, but she is hyper intuitive the way that Caribbean women are. And also ironically, she reads the horoscopes on the radio. Even though she doesn't necessarily believe it, although, because of me, she now believes that the astro world and the unseen world are real, but she's very psychic and she did not accept that for many years. But also my grandmother was a psychic, literally a psychic. She was a nurse, but she read tea leaves on the weekend and after work. And I do not know for sure about her mother, which would be my great grandmother, but I feel like she was probably intuitive as well, but I do not have confirmation on that. I've got 2 cousins who are like 100% psychic as well. One of them speaks light language. She's still figuring out how that works, but it's very, very cool. And
Language. What is that?
oh yeah, it is. God, I don't think I can do it justice. It's a thing that we're all just gonna have to Google after.
Okay.
But it's like, for anybody listening, Google light language. It's insane. It sounds fake, but it's real. I promise you. And yeah, my sister isn't overtly psychic the way that I am, but she's extraordinarily intuitive. And occasionally sees a ghost or two. So yeah.
Okay, so Danny, now you can go with all your questions. I think I'm no.
So
Because this is Danny's like favorite topic.
Oh my God. Shoot.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I'm heavily invested.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's also in St. Lucia now, so he can test any theories if you.
Amazing.
not me all sending in no great house to go and find no tall man. All right.
You sure? You sure you don't want to
yeah.
find any, or
Oh
All
yeah.
you have to
what
do
about
is
children?
Oh, those are the worst. Those are the worst.
They really are. Oh my
I
god.
will
One.
kick a child. I promise. Like, I will. I
didn't you
will.
have an experience in the forest with like am I making this up? Nadani?
No, but it wasn't a child. It was a dog.
Oh.
Oh my god. Yes, I believe you. Animal spirits too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll go over that in a while. But I was going to ask, right? Other than duppies, poltergeists, spirits, are there
Mm-hmm.
any creatures, especially I guess in Caribbean or Jamaican folklore, that you know about, have experienced? Like I know for us in St. Lucia,
Mm-hmm.
La Jablesse is a big thing.
Mm.
The woman in the red
Tibolom.
dress.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a big thing for us here. And antiboloms, yeah, which are
yeah.
basically little demons that you get to do your bidding.
Your bidding, yeah.
But they do
Yeah,
things wrongly, so you have to like eventually get rid of them because
yeah,
they're the worst employees.
yeah.
You have
They are literally little children when you
yeah.
think about it.
Oh, like house elves,
Yeah.
Yeah,
except
like Dobby,
possessed.
but
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
but a
But
hundred
was
times less efficient.
Yeah.
But remember, Dobby was pretty
Dobby wasn't that efficient.
inefficient.
Exactly. So imagine somebody
You have
that
to
is
be
way
very
less efficient.
specific with Dobby.
Yeah.
I mean, now
Imagine.
that y'all say a Tibolom is like a house elf, like I
Dobby
mean,
was
not even
a
that bad.
Tibolom.
Oh. Well, in terms of course, we've got folklore as well. We have different versions, like we'll have Olag and Rolling Calf, which I think every Caribbean country must have their version of Rolling Calf. Um, and we have River Momo, which is the haunted mermaid. Um, and but in terms of me experiencing them firsthand, I never have. However, I do have a friend who grew up in the bushes of like just in the mountain. I mean, like smack in the mount, like off the grid in the middle of Jamaica, and she grew up with fairies, like full fairies. I don't think those are like obviously those are not specific to Jamaica, but she did
Yeah.
have that, and she's a very grounded human being. Like she's not off her rocker, or I completely believe her. Both she and her grandmother saw the fairies. Her mom did not, but from the time she was young, she saw them. And I believe that because, like, I feel like the mountains in particular, I have not seen fairies, but like I'm
You could
sure.
see how they are there, right?
Yeah, like it just feels very magnetic, and especially in like St. Lucia with those hills. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
bet
So
I
the
bet you feel them up there too.
the funny thing is, my sister was actually telling me about a friend that had said she feels like she was, or that said she was raised by the fairies in Kubaril.
Oh
So
I can
yeah.
believe that.
right, so there's an
I
area
can believe that.
Kubaril that
Mm-hmm.
that person said she, she felt and knows like the fairies in that area.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, and even my grandmother said, like, even talking about these folklore things, she had just kind
Mhm.
of said and like brush it off. They have too much. She said like they have too much light.
There's too much light now.
There's too
Yeah.
much light now.
A lot of
Like
Oh,
my
yeah.
grandmother said the same thing. She said because back in the day where you saw a lot of those things, you didn't have as much light around, so there's
mhm.
also darkness and stuff for them to hide in and that kind of stuff. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of light, so
all of the development
yeah.
and whatnot.
So I
Yeah.
believe those things probably existed and probably still exist. They probably just in the areas
Yeah.
that have less light. So I can see how your friend had that like in the mountains off the grid. Yeah,
Right?
boy. How
Oh
much
my
light was
gosh.
there?
That's
Yeah.
that's a great that's a really, really perfect. I love that. I love that take. Yeah. Makes total sense that somebody off the grid would see this and not anybody with Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi is like having salt in your doorstep.
Exactly. Or like sage on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So your free episodes, right? the future daughter, Grave at Hope Gardens, and Ghost in Shanghai Tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I go any further, Ghost in Shanghai Tunnels,
Mm-hmm.
I knew about them. I lived in Portland for 3 years, but
Oh my God! No way! Oh my God!
I've never been, right? But
Oh.
anybody who's been to Portland knows the city slogan is "Keep Portland Wed." So
Yes.
I'm not even shocked that you smelled perfume down there, because some weird stuff happens in Portland per hour.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
I love Portland. It's so weird.
oh yes,
course
it's
you do.
lovely. It's lovely. I mean, from time there was a place called Voodoo Donuts. I knew
I
this was gonna
know.
be a special place.
Oh my God. It's just like a witch dream. All of Portland.
Yeah, and they're heavily into the spirituality and all that
Yup.
kind of stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the forest and darkness for it as well.
Oh my gosh. It's just so perfect. It's, oh, yeah.
So which of those are your favorite? And then like, where do you see it going? Like in the future, like, are you going to give more of your own experiences, or are you going to, like, in the second episode, go and find stories and explore them, ghostbust them?
Goodness. Oh, the possibilities are endless. Okay, so in terms of favorite episode, I am not sure. I think as of right now, I think my personal favorite episode is Future Daughter, where my sister tells me about her experience encountering the apparition she believes is her future daughter, because my sister does not believe in many things. Like,
And as somebody who knows her sister, when I
Yes.
watched that, I was like, "Oh shit, Lisa is shook." Like,
yes,
I was watching that and she recorded like some Blair Witch Project type shit. Like, I was like, oh,
no, but let me tell you, like, Lisa is like generally like chill, not really like moved by much. Whatever. So when
No.
I was watching it, I was like, she would not be that good an actress. Like,
No, not at all.
genuinely like moved.
She was shook when she told me. I remember the first time she told me, she was like, I think something happened today. Like, ooh, tell me more. So I think that might be my favorite one, only because of the person telling it and how genuinely affected she was. But in terms of future episodes, I'm so excited. Guys, I think I say this in every single YouTube video I have. I have so many stories that I want to share with the world, just out of the pure joy of sharing it with the world. It's genuinely exciting. So, I want to tell other people's stories, but also I think I'm going to first tell all of my own, or just like a select few of my own. And also do some where I explore some urban legends, a la Grave at Hope Gardens, because there are quite a few of those in Kingston as well. But I just have so many personal stories, so I will likely start there. But in the future, I am hoping to get more of other people's experiences, because the more I do this, the more people like message me on Instagram with their own stories that they've never told anybody. I cannot tell you how many people per month, like people I know, people I don't know, like DM me, text me. Sometimes I get voice notes and they're like, my girl, you will never believe this, except maybe you will, because you're you. Like, I have a friend who just went to Cambridge and she's like, listen, I've been quarantining and I'm pretty sure I just got possessed by an old man just for 2 hours, but he was there.
what?
I'm like, I believe you. Listen, girl,
Okay,
hang tight.
So when they tell you these things, like, do you just like listen, or do you like try to like document it, for just in case you want to come back? Because I would feel like somebody tell me that, like, I'm like, let's document this.
Oh,
just in
yeah.
case I decide to put out an episode or something.
Oh, yes. Like, the form of documentation that I have is just the messages we have. But, like, I also have a photographic memory, so I remember everything always, to my benefit and also to my detriment. And
That's how you did so well in school.
Yes, it did come in really, really handy. But my girl, so did you.
I ain't got photographic memory for shit.
I was just I just relied on my sheer brilliance is all. But no, I documented it in terms of like screenshots, and like I have them in folders on my hard drives called other people's stories. And it's a rich playground of just weird and creepy ass shit. It brings me so much joy.
I think you meant High Strangeness.
Yes. Oh, I love you. Yes. High Strangeness folder number 85.
I have a question. Two questions. One, do you feel like you like experience more of these things in Jamaica or abroad? Or do you think it's the same? And then, like, because even for me, like, I don't know if it's like a home thing or ancestral thing. Like, I just feel like you feel more connected to, personally, I feel more connected, like, to the land and the space, like in St. Lucia versus like certain parts of up here.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I do feel super connected to Jamaica, and also like the Caribbean just has very rich history in general. Like so do the places that we're living, meaning like Texas and the time that I spent in California, and then the time that we spent in Florida. Everywhere has its history, but the Caribbean has like some gnarly history. And I think that because of how much darkness there was, a lot of that got trapped in the energy, and it's just been like lingering. And because we come from the Caribbean, we pick up on it easier than if like someone who is not from the Caribbean would pick up.
So the thing that I thought when you explained it was almost like there's still blood in the soil, you know?
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Still, my other question was, do you feel that in chasing or looking for these stories, like they may become more elusive? Because you know how like
when you're looking for something, you can't find it, but when you're not looking for it, it comes to you. Type thing. I had a question like that for her. Well, kind of similar, but more the opposite. Because I would think in her like looking for it, it opens her up to different, like even
like
ones that
sometimes
she's
she
not
wants
looking
to stop
for.
it, right? Like how do you stop it if you don't want it? So I guess
my gosh,
both sides of that, right?
Yes, well, they're both excellent questions. Okay, so I would say more Vernon is my experience. It's like since I publicly acknowledge that this is a thing, this is part of my life experience, and like since I look more into it, I don't think I've ever chased a story. I think almost every single time the story has come to me, and like I just pick it up, or I just open the door, and then it just keeps coming, like it just keeps flowing. And like the more it comes is the more it comes. I feel like it doesn't stop. So what I had to learn to do is to draw energetic boundaries with the unseen world. Like it's the same thing with psychic stuff, where like just everything comes in so much. Empaths feel it this way, psychics feel it this way. Just you have to learn how to close the door, otherwise you will be bombarded and you will lose control. So I've had to learn through my magical teacher in LA, Naha Armady. She was the person who taught me how to set boundaries with unseen things and the unseen world. And there were times in my life where I was like, listen, I am so overwhelmed. I am closing the door. I am not open for business. I am unavailable. And that was like right when I moved home from LA in 2018, like August 2018. I was just, I so loved LA. I did not want to move home. And I was just so overwhelmed and depressed. And I was like, I cannot have one more thing on my plate. So I had to declare that. And it worked. Like I didn't see anything, hear anything, feel anything for like a good half a year. That may have been the energetic boundaries, but it also may have been like extreme depression. I have no idea. We'll never know.
Did you want to be closed off to it for so long?
Yes,
Okay.
like it was just, I was just so overwhelmed.
Yeah, you were drained.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. By comparison, I remember there was something, I don't remember what year, but things started to appear to me. And one time I was outside and I was looking at the moon, and out of frustration of like getting these kind of sort of messages and like not understanding or like not knowing what to do with it, I like looked at the moon and I just said, whatever you have to show me, just show me. Right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But I said it kind of like in a frustration, and I was outside walking my dog, and I swear, after I said that, I swear I saw like a figure of like an animal like walk by. No, it was not a bobcat. It was like almost like the size of like a, like a big cat, like a leopard or something like that.
Bobcat.
And no, but when I ended up speaking to my aunt about it, who is, she was kind of in that space and world, whatever.
Yeah.
And she said, don't just ask for something or open yourself up to something that you don't know you are ready to receive, because in the same way that you just make that pronouncement, it could be something good to come to you, or it could be something bad, right? So
yeah,
just be very, very careful kind of in these spaces. So kind of in that vein, and since as much as it's old territory, it's new territory for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So if there is someone on this podcast or someone who has had these experiences, right? You will like in LA that, had those resources and kinds of, people that you could maybe find and support, and like maybe the Caribbean, is it, like you said, you had somebody to help guide you, and that,
yes,
even if there may be people like that, it's not something that would be spoken about. It's not, you get what I'm saying? There's still like this shroud of mystery. And then even going down the Google rabbit hole, are you sure you want to Google, Google everything? So like, how does one navigate seeing spirits closing off, or begin to navigate or find resources to manage?
Damn. Okay. Well, here is the first thing I recommend for people. Never forget that you are in control. Like, even if you are terrified, you are in control of yourself and your experience. So if you are having too many things come at you at once, if you have no idea what's going on, at the very least, you can declare, please do not show yourselves to me. I cannot help you right now. And then you've given yourself some time to like feel out what it is that you want to do. In terms of resources to help you develop that more, because I cannot tell you how much access to resources has helped me like learn how to navigate my own space. There is the best school in LA for it's called 22 Teachings School of Hermetic Arts and Sciences, and I just call it Magic School because that's a long name. But they're a really, really wonderful school for learning about intuition and learning about the unseen space and the magical mysteries. And that is where my teacher, Naha, teaches. It's based in LA, but there are so many things that are free online, and so many of their courses are online. So if you are somebody listening to this and you want to learn more about your own experiences and what they could be meaning to you, and you're like ready to go into it more seriously, I would highly recommend looking at that, because that is where I first went in order to like gain a more official knowledge of what was going on for me. And also, like, never underestimate your own power to like talk and communicate directly with the unseen world. Like sometimes people, like I am a psychic, but and like I help interpret and translate messages from the unseen world with people, but people always assume that they need somebody else to translate messages or experiences that they are having themselves, when like they are fully capable of doing that for themselves. So if you are overwhelmed and you want to know more, I hear Anushka and I hear your aunt when she says, don't just ask for something like you don't know what you're you don't know what you're opening up yourself to. But see what happens when you sit down and like you ground yourself and you meditate and you ask the universe, if I am ready to receive something, or like specify whatever it is, please show it to me. But if not, I trust.
And I think like the difference in like what I did versus what you explain is like having that intention and being grounded before you ask it, right? So not out of anger, frustration, like not just like as a pure emotional response, but being like grounded and, fully into like what you are. And I mean, just kind of leaning into your intuition is like that first step, because one of the things I was thinking is your intuition will guide you to like resources to be like, that feels right. That feels shady, like kind of sorts of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. Your intuition is very powerful and more people should trust their intuition, I find, in general.
Man, we would have literally been casting spells and stuff in boarding school.
I know. Nothing before it's time. We can always cast spells at the boarding school another day.
and there's some old man walking next to your room and saying, you are playing with powers that you couldn't possibly comprehend, little girl. And then like there's lightning in the background. It's like, oh,
a dopey alligator crawls out of the pond.
Yeah, exactly. So in boarding school, you all never did any of the creepy stuff you saw on like Western TV, like a Ouija board.
No, we went to the mall. We went to the mall and went to movies.
Mall and Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the most part, you all didn't really trouble the ghosts.
No, we did not.
There was that one night though we were on the playground late at night. I don't know if you were in that.
Yes, of course I remember. And I have that one picture of Bexy sitting on the fence in the dark with a palm tree in the background. That is one of my favorite pictures of all time. I remember that fondly.
All right. Well, Didi, it was such a pleasure having you on the podcast and sharing all your wild, experience.
I'm looking forward to more episodes of Strangeness.
Yes.
Hi, Strangeness.
Yes. Me too, guys. Honestly, me too. I think about it and I am jazzed.
You're still mad about episode 2?
Like they had me. I was like, damn.
No, but Vernon.
Like, psych, he didn't die. I was like,
Vernon, when I got to that part in episode 2, you know what it reminded me of? The Devil's Bridge in St. Lucia.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
basically, there's this bridge in the south of St. Lucia, right? And people swear that a man wanted the bridge built so he could go and see his lover or something.
Yeah.
And the devil said that he could build the bridge in one day, but the man had to sacrifice something. And the man, when the bridge was built, the man just sent his dog across.
Oh my God.
Now,
that is the worst.
The funny thing is, right, you ask anybody in Tennessee about this and they know the story of the Devil's Bridge. You ask the people who live in the area and they're like, no, we were actually hired to work on that bridge and it took us a couple of months. There's no Devil's Bridge. There's no Devil's Bridge.
I got paid to build that bridge.
Yeah,
so no.
We were working on that bridge hard. Yeah, we were casting rocks and breaking stones and laying asphalt. Yeah, there's no devil doing any of that work there. The only devil was the sun.
I also see it in your future for you to be a traveling duppy storyteller. Like,
Oh,
How
I
can we do
sure
it?
hope so. That would be so much fun. Like, can you imagine how many stories exist just in the Caribbean alone? Like,
Oh,
I would
yes.
love to do this all over the world, but just in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
we could fill many
I feel
hours
like
of screen
the
time.
Caribbean would have so many.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you would
Oh my
probably spend years
gosh.
doing that
Yeah.
before you actually left and went
Yeah.
outside.
mhm.
I feel
Oh
like
my
some place
gosh.
like St. Lucia alone probably has like
Yep.
so many things.
Yes.
Our folklore episode that we did, we were just thinking that like with all the stories that were in St. Lucia and the Caribbean alone, there should be like some Tyler Perry studio for just
Mhm.
Caribbean
Yes.
like folklore stories, horror and movies and that kind of stuff. Like that would be cool. Like
I
I
am so surprised that the Caribbean doesn't have a bigger
yeah,
horror
I would love to
genre.
see a
Right?
T-Bolum run across the screen in an AMC movie theater, just like,
Oh my god.
just like,
One day, Adani. One day.
like the Gremlins, but Caribbean, like and it ends with the wise old man sending it to go and fill a bucket with holes with water in the sea, and like it never comes back.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I love that. Well, I mean, just don't be surprised if I call you one day and ask you for more details because I'm going to write this out.
We're ready. We're ready
Yeah.
for
Oh, that
it.
would be so
I
fun.
had a whole T-Bolum script already, like from creation,
Oh,
right,
oh,
all
amazing.
all the way.
I cannot wait. I would watch it.
Well, guys, it's been a thrilling episode. Very exciting. I don't know. We should do this again, but until then,
Yeah,
before we
Didi,
wait,
don't fight.
before we go,
Oh my.
right? Before we go, right? We cannot have
yeah.
this episode and not discuss if you guys have any plans for Halloween, regardless of if you're in America or the Caribbean.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're just sighing. Okay, so I'll go first.
Okay.
Personally, I do not like Halloween. I do not have any like sentiment to like like
Yeah,
I
feel
don't
no
have
way
any
about
kind of
it.
connection with it. So it's not like in the past I've always seen like dressing up as more of like a burden and a stress than like fun. Oh my god, I'm excited. And we've always been super last minute about like when we've
Yeah.
had to dress up. This year we technically have 2 invites to 2 different Halloween parties, but we're kind of like and also we still live in COVIDious times, so there's that. So that's where we stand. I
Go
think
as a vaccine, you'll scare a lot of people.
Oh.
good one.
That's amazing. Well,
Pfizer and Moderna.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
guys are
Yeah,
cross
that's
vax.
Yeah.
First
Sha-
dose, second dose.
Charlie will be the booster shot.
First dose, second dose booster. Oh my god.
That's so cute. Total opposite for me. October is my favorite month. This is my favorite season, the season of the witch. And unfortunately, in Jamaica, it's not as big of a thing. That was one of my favorite things about America is how seriously they took Halloween. I'm like, yes.
Very.
I've never really dressed up too many Halloweens only because I could never get it together in time. I really wanted to go as Miss Cleo for the past couple years and it's just never happened, but it will one day.
You have to say it, right?
All
have
you
to say
need is
No,
the
stop.
freaking head
I need
tie.
her to say it.
Call my number.
She has to say it. You
Didi,
said you would. You have to say it.
What does she say again?
Call me now for your free
Call me.
tarot reading.
Oh my god, call me now for your free reading. Oh my god. You guys, I have a post that's like me lying on a beach with a shell to my ear that says 1-800 Island Mystic. I will find it and send it to you. But I don't have any Halloween plans this year. I was supposed to be in California with my boyfriend and I was hoping to go as Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker because we kind of remind me of them. But it's not happening. Maybe next year. Yeah. How about you, Adani?
Unfortunately, we still kind of under lockdown, so not much going to be happening here. But in the future, I hope to finally fulfill my lifelong Halloween dream and go somewhere as Morpheus. And have a blue pill and a red pill and just do that all night long.
I could
my
totally
God.
see you living that up, though.
Oh, I would love to.
I hope that we are at the same Halloween party when that happens.
Or most likely I'll be on the West Coast, so we'll make something happen.
Oh my God. Hopefully I too will be on the way. Listen, this is a future plan that will happen.
Putting it out there into the universe.
Yes.
Love to hear it.
All right, guys. It's been another episode of the Caribbean Millennials podcast. We're out.